Um, First thing first, we talk about like left side passages 3 and 4. Well, actually, the whole way through 1, 2. Don't try and straighten your legs 1, 2. They will be straight in front of you. Just walk, right? So we had you just like speed walk, essentially just quickly to the other side of the slot. You always make that straight leg, so you don't have to like tighten up, like straight lines, but push, like tuck your knees backwards. Let it relax there, so you don't like drop it all the way on 3. Also, think about 3 is clearing the slot just enough to let your hips go through, not trying to like redirect your body. So if you do left side pass, I'm gonna go like 1, 2. The foot's just a little over there to let my left foot come through comfortably. It's not really gonna go farther than that. I'm not trying to redirect the slot and kind of create a wall and bounce back. So I'm not gonna go 1, 2 and like bouncing through most of the time. Again, with a grain of salt, it could be used at some point for some reason. But on your baseline, again, you were just going bum bum, kind of dropping down because your legs and hips are too stiff going 1, 2, and then you dropped off going 3, 4 because you had to find a bend on 3. But to do that, you have to let everything go. So if I'm already tense, it's going to make life harder. If I'm not tense to go in, it makes life a little easier. So again, from there, I go to my anchor. I go 1, 2. I open a little bit. I go 3. I go 2. I go to 4, 5, and 6. Distancing for 3 and 4. Think about it, you want to go about the same distance 1, 2. If you hit your leader by 2, thumbs up. If you pass them, you have to do the same distance on 3 and 4 to make the connection work out. So what's happening is you're always going a little too far, and you'll always be like trying to find the space with your left foot that's too far away. You always kind of have to like free up your shoulder and like loosen the shoulder up and lose connection there, or you find your hip going to the side and like tipping your body over. And again, from a taller person's standpoint, it doesn't look terrible, although I'm still disconnected. If I was shorter and had less torso, right, that would look very apparent, right? So making sure you're managing that. Think about it, you're trying to stay stacked essentially most of the stance, right? So if you're stacked, you can work underneath yourself. Thumbs up. How I want to find that, right? I find that corner. I think, okay, that's almost enough to get let on the 1, or it's enough to get let on the 1. I'm not going to fight for more. If I don't feel that, I find more. I keep trying to find more until I find it feels like enough power for a 1. So if you do left side pass, I'm going 1 and 2. I'm like, cool. Medium, small step, moderate to big step here. I think that's enough power to go on 1, so I'm not going to go farther than that corner. If I took this step here, I'd be like, ooh, not enough. I'm going to go farther and try and readjust and find that position. I would take that step away. No matter if it's going at a corner angle or going straight away, I would go and try and take a little more to make sure I found what I needed. We worked into like a corner pocket to get rotation here. If I go 1, 2, and I go just a little past that, like comfortable for the 1 baseline, so I go a little farther here, try and take that right side over. As you rotate on any position, you're going to send 1 shoulder forward, 1 shoulder backwards, right? If I had motion, I was moving away, I could leave this in place effectively, right? The idea is that in rotation, I can soften the blow of my travel and find the right position to rotate into, versus I have to go here and it's rock solid, right? So I don't have to like only away from the hand now and overextended, right? I get to this corner, I try and find just a little more than I was expecting to find usually, so I can use that to help send my hip and my body straight through that window into rotation. Think about it. I'm pushing a hinge, right side of the hinge. I'm pushing the door from the middle or from the left side. I'm pushing that through to find rotation in that corner because I'm also traveling that corner. I'll follow through in the same way. As I put my weight over my right hip, left foot comes through and left foot carries through comfortably. There's no delay between this and that picking up, right? Make sure as I get there, this is already in motion, ready to go into 5, and I can drive out to an angle and find things. Think about your slot. Generally, it's about a nice 1 square wide slot. Again, play it by ear with your partner and what you guys think of your boundaries, right? Your partner might set more narrow boundaries than you have, whatever. If I push the edge of the slot as a follower and I keep pushing it, I will rotate the slot. I'll turn the slot temporarily to a different line, right, and find a new line to work from. Right? So be mindful of that. If you go over here and you square up to your partner from this position, that slot has been rotated, so I'm going to then go here. I want to eventually get back to the original orientation of the slot, maybe not the original space of the slot. So I might be over there, but I'm still going to eventually get back to here, right? I might live for a time in this slot over here where I can say, hey, John, you know that. Great. I'm not going to then stay here and get stuck there. I can find myself back to the original slot at some point and make new connections from here. Think about as you find those walls and those boundaries of the slot, or at least getting towards them, you tell your partner and you a lot of stuff that's going to happen. So if I'm here, right down the middle, actually, shoot this way. If I'm right down the middle of John, right, I don't tell him anything. If I'm square up to John, I don't tell him anything. If I turn myself or rotate myself a little bit, I'm asking for a turn, but I'm still not asking for a specific turn. But if I step myself over here at all, I'm offering right side passes only, right, or a shoulder push. But it's still something you can manipulate, you can play around with it, but it's like right side passes are easier, so just leave it done, right? If I go left side passes, it's easier to do left side passes. Again, think about my partner, if he's square up with me, right? I'm aiming for a shoulder. I'm not trying to go past him, because that again turns the slot and hits the edge of that box too hard. So I'm just going for on the shoulder, and then if I rotate my body open, I'm asking for rotation. Think about from here to to like 30 degrees doesn't do too much, doesn't really make you prep the one. Anything like 45 degrees and above is like, this one feels like a prep, because it takes the hand a little over through the anchor and says like, hey, hand's getting pulled that way. So the prep position on one is already achieved essentially. So if one happens from there, it already wants to recoil into two. And so the idea is that my body position is already in the one prep. Any follow through from the leader at all makes a two prep happen, so it just makes the turn happen. So if I'm here doing a right side pass and John wants to lead a one, we're practically rotating anyway, and it wasn't something I had to work for. Right? So making your life easier, making your leader's life easier, offering options and offering how you decide to play in those options is super important. Last one we talked about is a specific use case. If I do like a left side pass and I go farther into that like new left side over there, right, I will end up getting a right side pass if I go there by 4. So if I go 1, 2, and I go like 3 and 4, I'm probably going to bounce off that wall and want to come back because my partner's going to give opposition. And because I got there so early, the opposition is going to pull me back to a right side pass. If I go through that and I go slower and I go middle of the slot, 3 and 4, and I creep over to this corner for a left side pass through 5 and 6. So he has no time to give opposition, and now I have a left side pass available. So you can play with that how you will. Just start playing with the leaders more, give them different options, take away options, give them a narrower list of things to do. So